Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the first episode of the Road to 180 Reverse Diet. I'm not gonna lie, it was a little bit weird saying that because I'm so used to saying welcome back to the Road to 180. But this video is going to be the first of my weekly updates concerning my reverse diet. For a little bit of context, if this is your first time at my channel, I recently finished a 20-week fat loss phase where I went down from 240 pounds all the way down to 186 pounds. So this is my first week actually eating normally, and it's feeling good so far. But what we're going to do today is I'm going to give you a quick little recap of the first phase, which I just completed. So I'll post that right up on the screen. The main priority was to bump up the caloric intake to 2,805 calories. I have to eat the same foods that I did during my cut. No junk yet. Begin the gradual reintroduction of carbs. So over the past week, it was honey, fruit, vegetables such as peppers, potatoes, tomatoes, all of those, even though tomatoes technically a fruit. I'm sure I'll get flack for that in the comments. Introduce creatine monohydrate in order to help my athletic performance, and keep my activity levels exactly the same as on my fat loss deficit. So averaging around 13 to 15,000 steps a day, and doing a workout routine of a push day, a pull day, a leg day for weightlifting, and then my quote-unquote rest day is my cardio day, and repeat that cycle. So what we're gonna do for these videos is, obviously I'll post the quick recap of the phase, I guess, that I had just completed. I'll be posting my weekly numbers for weight and my progress picture from in comparison to the last in my last progress picture from my cut, and then I will be posting my weekly numbers for my caloric intake and my macronutrient intake, share a sample menu of what I eat, give updates on my workouts, and then of course general thoughts on the journey, which is always my favorite part to do. So with that out of the way, let's hop straight into it. And I weighed in this morning, I guess, at 194 pounds, which is 8 pounds over what I weighed in last week. This is normal due to a variety of different factors. I have a lot more volume of food in my body at any given time now. Supplementing with creatine monohydrate does make me retain water, so I am drinking a lot more water as well, so my body's holding it. Same thing with reintroducing carbohydrates, so my body's not used to it. Still, the digestion is still trying to get used to the whole, like, oh, okay, this is we actually have a plant product in here after 20 weeks of not eating that. So it's trying to figure out and get back up to speed, but also carbs do retain water as well. And then, yeah, so I'm not super fussed with it, but the big update and takeaway for my weigh-in this week is that going forward, so in subsequent episodes, I'm actually going to be doing a weekly average rather than what the number is on the scale as I record this video. And the reason for it is just because I'm going to get a more accurate sort of bellwether of where my weight actually is and how much my weight fluctuates. So this is going to be sort of the last day of me posting my quote-unquote weigh-in number as, whatever I weigh in on Sunday, that's the number. This way it's just I'll have more data and I'll be a little bit more accurate. So of course, I'm going to post the progress picture on the screen in comparison to the original, and I kind of screwed up, and I took my progress picture this morning fairly late, so like not as soon as I wake up like I used to, so might be a little bit inaccurate. That being said, though, we are still seeing some vascularity. And I noticed around my midsection, I do look a little bit more fuller, but I'm also noticing like there's a little bit more definition over there on the oblique. You can still see the delt separation. And yeah, I look a little bit fuller, but it's not I don't find it super noticeable, but maybe if it is, let me know down in the comments. Also, yes, I did get a haircut, and no, I'm not shaving the mustache just yet. And yeah, that's going to be a fixture for the foreseeable future, but we keep going regardless. So my weekly numbers for my calories and macros. So you'll notice in phase 1, in that little recap that I gave, I have to eat 2,805 calories for this week, actually for the next 2 weeks. So going into this next week, so phase 2, I still have to keep my caloric intake around that. And my weekly averages, I'll actually post right up on the screen here, a little tracker that I've created just to help me sort of collate all my data. And on average, I am consuming about 2,803 calories a day, which is like again, it's 2 calories is negligible. So yeah, I am hitting that fairly well. I've also broken down how many carbohydrates, proteins, and fats that I'm eating throughout the week. So I'm averaging about 201 grams of carbs a day, 301 grams of protein, which is like a fair bit. I probably don't have to be eating that much, but again, this is like my first week after eating exclusively animal products, which is just basically a lot of protein and a lot of fat, and it's also like what I have in my fridge, so I kind of got to eat what's available. And then fats, I'm averaging around 85 grams a day, which is kind of low. And that's definitely like an area that I'm going to have to bump up for sure. I think over the next week, it's going to, like, the numbers will sort of end up evening out. And then, yeah, of course, in phase 3, I will be introducing new dietary fats, such as, like, butter, some nuts, although I'm not the hugest fan of those because I'm allergic to a lot of them. But yeah, that's going to be a really exciting one. But overall, like, the eating has been like fairly good. It's actually kind of a blessing to be able to eat so much food again. And it is weird because I am feeling like just like a little bit hungry still, but I think what that's due to is just the fact that, like, I was super, super diet fatigued anyway. So that should even out by next week. So I'm going to share a sample menu of what I eat, and I'll post that right up on the screen here. Basically, I split my caloric intake into around 4 meals. So for breakfast, I'll usually have like 6 eggs, a packet of sugar-free Jell-O, whatever flavor this week it just happens to be strawberry, and then I'll have 40 grams of honey, and that works out to be like 640 calories, 35 grams of carbs, 43 grams of protein, 33 grams of fat. So the majority of or rather a large portion of my fat intake does come in the morning. But that being said, it's a breakfast that's easy for me to prepare. It's simple. The protein helps to keep me full and satiated. And of course, what better way to start your day off than with half a dozen eggs? Like, eggs are goated. I don't care what anybody says. I feel really bad for the people who can't eat them, just because, again, they're just absolutely fantastic, and more people should be eating them. Mid-morning, I'll usually have something light. So I'll have about a serving of Greek yogurt, which is, 175 grams of that. I'll have a scoop of whey protein mixed in with that, and then I'll have whatever fruit I have on hand. So usually it's like an apple, or it might be some mango, or some oranges, which, by the way, having a really nice navel orange was a quasi-religious experience. It's like the first time I've had an orange in 6 months, and it almost checkmated my atheist ass. It was, it was nuts. I loved it, and if you don't eat oranges, you should, because they taste freaking amazing. But my mid-morning meal usually ends up averaging around anywhere between like 280 to 360 calories, around like 30 grams or so of carbs, around like 48 grams of protein. And of course, there's no fat in the Greek yogurt that I have, in the whey protein, or in the fruit. And then usually I won't eat lunch, but I'll have a light pre-workout meal. So, this week was a little bit of an exception, because I did have these like Korean blood sausages called sundae, which are like fucking amazing. Like, oh man, those are so good. Those did have a whole lot of those had actually a pretty high carbohydrate content according to the label. So I try to, for my pre-workout meal, to have a few carbs in there just to fuel my workout, so then that way I have some energy. So usually it'll either be more fruit, like some honey. I don't have any more of those sundae anymore. I should go get some more, or something like that, along with a whey protein shake. The reason why I do the whey protein shake before my workout is just because, again, I have it on hand, and like I don't really want to be drinking a whole bunch of water. And I think that drinking a diet soda before a workout, to me, seems kind of weird. But hey, if that's you, you do you. And then my biggest meal of the day usually comes post-workout. So that's where like the majority of my calories and my macronutrients come in. So usually this is where my protein comes in. So it'll either be like steak, pork, chicken, fish, whatever else. This week, it just so happened I finished off the strip loin steak that I have, and I moved into pork loin. So like what I had last night was, for example, like 610 grams of raw weight, by the way, pork loin. I had that packet of frozen peppers and onions, which is like 500 grams of that. Some Greek yogurt in there, and then like sort of as a dessert, if you will, I had like 20 grams of honey and this. And just like a little bit of like pork or beef jerky. And that's sort of like my post-workout meal. I make sure to have the majority of my protein there, especially when I'm lifting weights, because then that way, it'll just help with my recovery, and it's a nice filling meal. I don't have to go to bed hungry anymore. And that's essentially sort of like a sample menu of what I had this week. That's probably going to change throughout the reverse diet as I transition back into sort of like eating quote unquote normally. And the reason for it is just because, again, like I'm not sure if my carbohydrate intake is going to be, if I'm going to be averaging 200, maybe I might be averaging higher. I might be averaging lower. My fats, I definitely will be, they definitely will be higher, just because they are super, super important for a lot of things, like for a lot of, hormonal regulation, everything like that. And they also do help to keep you satiated. And then my protein, I might drop it a little bit, because that's where the majority of obviously my breakdown's coming from. But again, we'll see in the coming week what's on the go with that. So update on my workouts. I'll post those numbers right up on the screen right here. And So what I'm going to be doing is I'll be comparing them to my end of cut number. My end of cut numbers going into and going forward that way. My bench press stayed the same. My weighted dips are, again, I did take a deload on a lot of stuff as well. And the reason for it is just because, again, I want to make sure that I'm hitting the full range of motion now that I actually have food in me, just to make sure that, again, I'm doing the exercise properly. I'm getting the most out of my workout. So it's, and of course, when you do a deload, you should be eating at maintenance anyway, so you can recover properly, especially after that fiasco where I almost dropped weights on my head. And that's just not going to be, it wasn't the vibe, to say the least. But my bench press sort of stays the same. That's sort of a little bit concerning for me, but I think with more calories in my body, that will soon progress. My weighted dips, those are going well. I can of course increase the weight from a plate and keep going that way. My tricep push downs I did take a little bit of a deload there, but those are going well. They're feeling good. And then the machine lateral raises are staying the same. I think I might switch back to dumbbells. I like to do that every, 6 months or so, 3 to 6 months or so, just to keep it fresh and to keep the body guessing as well. Pull day. So, my pull-ups, again, it's always a defeat. I can't seem to do more than 8. I'm not sure why that is, but we'll maybe it's my grip, maybe it's something else. We'll have to figure that out. My lat pull downs, those are going well. My cable rows as well, those are slowly but steadily increasing. The standing dumbbell curl with the EZ bar, what I do now, I don't have it on the actual on the screen there, but what I'll do is I'll do my set, and let's say if I manage to get 8, 9 or 10 or whatever, and then after that I'll superset those with just some dumbbell curls as well, but I'll sort of throw it at an angle to get a better extension. And those so I should probably put that in there. I'll have that in there for next week. Concentration curls, same thing, those are going well. And then of course the big announcement, I am barbell squatting again. And not gonna lie, it's, even though for 185 pounds for me at the very least was always easy, this one, it was a little bit difficult, but I got her done. And of course I switched back to lying leg curls and deloaded on those, but those also went well. So I mean, I gotta say, overall, the gym just feels so much more fun. As compared to last week when I was talking about it, it was more so, I said okay, it wasn't getting fun anymore. It didn't quite feel like a chore, but it just felt like a defeat. No, it felt really good. It felt nice to have fuel in my body when I was going to go do this. And so I gotta say, it was great. And I guess this can sort of transition into the general thoughts. I'm not super fussed about I weighed in 8 pounds heavier than last week, because I know it's the majority of it's water anyway, and I'm eating enough protein, and I'm lifting, and I do 6 weightlifting sessions a week, so I will still be building muscle. If anything, my body right now is sort of primed for muscle gain and mass gain, because it's been in a caloric deficit for so long. But I don't know, this past week, I'm not gonna lie, I've been feeling kind of wholesome as fuck. It's it just feels, I was chatting with one of my homies yesterday actually, and it feels like there's a burning sun right in my chest. I just feel really happy. I'm not sure if that's due to all of the sugar from the carbohydrates, even though I'm not eating junk, but I don't know, it it almost feels like I definitely do feel like I have accomplished something like monumental and something that has been life-changing. And there's like a lot of self-realization over these past 20 weeks that I have sort of experienced. And I'll share those in another video because I don't want to ramble. But yeah, this week's just been really, really good. It's like my sleep is getting better. My workouts are going great. I'm still looking vascular. The pumps that I'm getting in the gym are crazy. My mood is a lot better, so I'm no longer a dick to everybody. And yeah, it's just, I don't know, for some reason it just, everything, like, you know, the colors are popping a little bit more, the air smells sweeter. And yeah, it's just, I don't know, just feel really, really grateful for a lot of stuff, really thankful to be breathing. And yeah, it's almost as though I finally feel like I've earned my right to be. And yeah, it's a very powerful feeling, I guess. But at the risk of rambling, I'll put a pin in it there. This has been the first episode of the Reverse from the Road to 180. If you found this informative, entertaining, all of the above, none of the above, drop a like on the video and a comment down below to share your thoughts. I'd love to hear it. And of course, consider subscribing as well if you'd like to see more content like this and other types of content that I post on my channel, or that I will be in the future. And yeah, I guess that's it. Let's power through this next week. You know, keep eating how we eat, and then I'll be back next week with the other update. Hope you all have a great one, and take care.